And we're continuing our series of shows, Spiritual States, and today the topic is, from your actions do we come to know you? I don't exactly remember where's this saying taken from, but it's been around for several thousands of years, and it is a method used by Kabbalists, and also it's written in the book of Shamati, written by Bala Sulam. So there's such a formula, from your actions do we know you? It's a principle of how to investigate, research the world. The Creator or nature are constantly influencing us. And the question is, how can I decipher, come to know, precisely understand without being mistaken whether it's the Creator that's working on me and how to react correctly? Dr. Laitman, the thing is that for this we really have to be researchers, not to stop halfway through. When we research the world, we research it by our senses. We have nothing else. We have our five senses. Hearing, seeing, vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch. And besides that, we have no other way to sense our surroundings, and ourselves, by the way. And the question is, are these senses sufficient in order to provide us with all the existing information about where we are and who we are? How can we change ourselves in order to clearly understand who we are and what we are? It's constantly under doubt, but the thing is that we have nothing else. We simply understand that we don't sense everything, grasp everything, that we're limited in our perception of the world that we live in, even the perception of ourselves. We don't know ourselves that well. There are different sciences, theories that somehow explain it all to us or try to explain it, that are trying to complete this picture for us, this very corrupted, broken, incomplete picture of the world. But that's not enough. And this is how humanity exists. Draws conclusions for today, for tomorrow, and obviously is mistaken all the time. And all of these mistakes cost us dearly. So, we're advancing from suffering to suffering. That's how we go, from blow to blow. And if we escape it somehow, we understand that it's only temporary. And with every year, since we're advancing, then we make even greater mistakes. But what can you do? This is the world that we live in. There is no other world. Kabbalah says that we have to change ourselves. And then, instead of these five senses that we have today, we will be able to acquire an additional sense where we will feel what exists outside of us. Not inside, but outside of us. It's a completely different approach. That which exists outside of us, we do not sense. All of our gadgets, devices are built in such a way that we absorb something from the outside, and by feeling it, it awakens some kind of particular, individual, always subjective depiction of what is that influences me. So, what we're doing in Kabbalah is that we're trying and we really come out of ourselves, meaning we develop a sense in us that is not built on absorbing the surrounding world, but it works in a way that I feel the surrounding world that isn't disrupted by me, but in the way that it really is, and to the measure to which I expand this ability of mine to come out of myself and to feel the surrounding world, I start understanding that here I'm dealing with one force called the Creator that defines all these things, awakens all these things in me, and when I come out of myself and I start integrating in Him, I understand that I don't need all of this. But coming out of myself is the only option which I really have, and this gives me everything that I need in order to correctly exist. Well, in science, first of all, scientists, they set some kind of assumption, and then they start revealing it. How to reveal that the Creator, that He is the one that is influencing me, and to come to know Him. Dr. Laitman, I'm inside a certain field that's obvious and under some kind of influence that's also clear. How can I come into a mutual interaction with this influence? That's what's unclear. And this is what I'd like to find out. So, what are we doing in our corporeal abilities, options, possibilities, is that we're trying to define what is it that influences us, meaning what forces, what do they awaken in us, and what reactions do they awaken in us. But all that is in relation to an ordinary corporeal person. But if we develop ourselves according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, then we're trying to influence this force field that we exist in, and to influence it in such a way that we'll understand it, to come into contact with it in order to see what kind of actions on my part awaken certain reactions in it toward me. So the mutuality between my influence over this general field and changing how this field influences me in return, this is what the wisdom of Kabbalah is engaged in. This general field that exists around us, outside of us, in Kabbalah is called the Creator, because obviously this is the one upper force that creates and sustains everything. And we obviously, besides the still vegetative inanimate nature, human beings meaning, we're called created beings, and it invites us to develop this kind of sense, to feel the Creator, to come out of ourselves and to start researching Him. And this is what the wisdom of Kabbalah studies, and this is actually something that we can develop and attain. Host, so by what principle from his actions or from the actions of this field over myself can I come to know it? Dr. Laitman, I can change myself, my reactions, my influence over it, and that way to feel how in return it influences me. Meaning, by the same method that any other science uses. In this regard, Kabbalah is a science. There is nothing else. Therefore, by changing myself, by changing my influence over this field, throughout history, I've accumulated already enough responses, reactions, from this surrounding field over myself, and therefore there's what to talk about. I already have certain data I collected, work with it, can deduce some kind of conclusion about this external field, nature, its behavior, how it influences me, how I influence it. In short, this is what the science is about. Host. So it's according to the law of equivalence of form, Dr. Laitman. Yes, host. So the creator and nature, or this field, they interact with us through different clothings, problems, could be physical, psychological, etc. And if I want to connect to this force, then according to the law of equivalence of force, I have equivalence of form. I have to adapt myself to it, otherwise make myself similar to it, otherwise I can't decipher it. Dr. Laitman, yeah. To come to know this force, this field, is possible only to the measure to which I become similar to it. And then to the measure of my limitedness, I can feel its qualities, generating them to some extent in me, and from that I will be able to deduce certain conclusions about the nature of the Creator. So without changing myself, I will never be able, only in my egocentric worldview, to decipher what does he want from me. Dr. Laitman, absolutely true. So, as we learn that he emanates this quality of bestowal, then I, in myself, have to cultivate the same quality of bestowal to the measure to which his quality will be present in me. I can understand his influence over me. Dr. Laitman, of course, host. So from his influence over me, I will be able to come to know him, but can't do it without changing myself. Dr. Laitman, right? You won't feel that he's even influencing you, meaning only to the measure to which you will start acquiring his qualities, will you start in these qualities to understand, evaluate how he influences you. So it's like with electromagnetic waves that I can't grasp them unless I have this kind of device, Dr. Laitman, device that will do the same, that grasps these waves of the same frequency. So the question is, why is it impossible directly not only to reveal the Creator, but different phenomena in the world that it's impossible to directly reveal them, that you need some intermediate, Dr. Laitman. It's not about having something intermediate, but how can I create in me something similar to this force? What can I generate these states from? And we're told about this that the most trustworthy thing is by making yourself similar to the Creator, to create this kind of detector by connecting with several other people and building between yourselves the same relations, attitude as his attitude or relation toward each and every one of us. We can't directly relate to him, because we don't have these qualities of bestowal, emanation, giving. But if we, between us and some small circle, some small group, create these qualities, then if we start creating these qualities in them, we start revealing the Creator's influence over us. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Why is it impossible to directly interact with this upper force, Dr. Laitman? Because each of us is an egoist. And in order to generate the quality of bestowal in yourself, which is the opposite of the ego, for this, egoists get together and try between themselves to influence each other in such a way that they will generate a certain similarity to the quality of bestowal, to the Creator. And not egoistically by forcing yourself to create the quality of the Creator. To forcefully create this quality in yourself, and this is how you start feeling him. So I can't directly feel the Creator, but he has the quality of bestowal. Suppose he sends us waves of a certain frequency, information, and in order to feel him, I also have to acquire the same quality. I don't have it. I gather people around me. It could be 10 people, it could be all of mankind. Doesn't matter. I work with them. In the work with them, I generate this quality. quality and to the measure to which it appears in me, I start to feel him. Dr. Laitman, right? Host, when I have already generated this quality, I can't directly interact with him. Dr. Laitman, through this group. Host, so still through the group, Dr. Laitman, because you don't have such a quality in and of yourself. In particular, you remain an egoist only. If you are correctly related, connected with a few more people, even one, but that's complicated. It's better to have a group of 10 people, suppose. Then with them, when you relate to them as like with the Creator, and bestowal and mutual care, concern, love, you try to somehow generate these qualities between yourselves, then what you get is not only a detector, but also a generator. Host. So the Creator, it's a kind of collecting quality. Dr. Laitman, no, this is what you do. Host, yeah, we don't know what that is, who he is, but what follows is that he doesn't see us as individuals either. Dr. Laitman, we can't talk about him. We can only talk through or in relation to the model that we build between us. Host, today physicists say that the entire world is not even forces, not matter, but information. But it comes in clothings, meaning there's information. We live in a certain world. Everything around me brings me certain information, and this information is clothed in different clothings. And the question is, why did the Creator make it so that it is impossible to directly perceive this information, but it has to come in a certain clothing? Dr. Laitman, we see that in our world it's impossible, that if we want to feel something, then any sensation of ours consists of two opposite qualities. There is the one that's feeling and the object that you feel. And therefore, the Creator, He created us opposite of Him in order for us to be able to perceive, grasp Him, understand Him. This is why He created us the way He did, opposite to Himself. Host, the laws of nature are independent of the observer, and they're unchanging. And still, if we change inside us our inner qualities, then do we feel the laws of nature differently? Do they change? Dr. Laitman, of course they do, because what we feel all of it inside ourselves. If we change internally, then we feel everything around us changing too. Host, so in relation to my innate egoism, the laws don't change, but when I start working differently with my ego, I can feel also the laws of nature differently. Dr. Laitman, absolutely. It's the true realization, implementation of the theory of relativity. Host, so it's all in relation to man who feels the world through his 5 egoistic senses. Dr. Laitman, and beyond that, 5 senses, egoistic senses, are not enough. Through them, we feel our world. These are animate sensations, not human sensations. And above that, we already start feeling qualities of bestowal that are generated in us, that are above the ego. And in them, we feel the upper changing state of the world. That is felt above our animate senses. Host, in physics, there is, suppose, a phenomenon like a nuclear explosion, detonation. It's more or less when you put together 2 protons, they have the same charge and they're rejected by each other. But if you apply a certain force, then it is possible to overcome a certain barrier, to connect them, and then there's a tremendous explosion, tremendous energy is released. We understand what a nuclear explosion is, and the question is about people. This is what happens with people too. When people try to connect with one another, at first there is rejection, but if they overcome this barrier, they start connecting and energy is released. What is this energy? Dr. Laitman, this is already spiritual energy. If people overcome their egos, the mutual rejection between them, and try to come closer to one another, then this is a completely different state between them. Between them, they already start to regenerate, build the upper world, upper relations, the quality of bestowal. In other words, the quality of bestowal. It's not attraction and rejection like in our egoistic physical world, but it's the quality of attraction which we have to generate above our negative qualities that exist in us, the egoistic ones. Meaning, in every person, there is one quality, and it is what is considered egoism, meaning a desire to delight yourself. This desire can be satisfied either by coming closer, moving away from something to something. So, if we try to generate inside us the quality of love, which is the opposite of the quality of ego, of the egoism, above the qualities of the ego, then we start feeling, how can we exist altogether? How can we altogether exist within the qualities of bestowal? And existing in the quality of bestowal is considered the quality of the creator, host. Well, if the protons that we try to forcefully connect, the same way we understand the two egoists can't connect. I have the desire to delight or receive pleasure, and you have the same, and we can't connect. And still, if there is some kind of a potential in us that we call the point in the heart, if we start to somehow unite in these points, we overcome this barrier where our ego can't connect, and we connect above that. Is it similar to what goes on in physics? Yeah, well, more or less, says Dr. Laitman, host. In science, many revelations were made by mistake. By mistake meaning that this wasn't the intention. They were looking for something else and discovered something else. Suppose starting with discovering Columbus, discovering America, he wanted penicillin, dark matter, etc., etc. It was all revealed by chance. Can we say that revelations in the wisdom of Kabbalah are also by chance, that you want to reveal one thing, but you actually discover another? Because it says so, that I have seen an opposite world, as it says in the Kabbalistic writings, meaning that you want to discover one thing, but you reveal something completely different, not what you set out to reveal to begin with. Dr. Laitman. Well, there is that all the time something new, unexpected is revealed, unpredicted. That, yes, on the one hand. On the other hand, the method itself, according to which it is revealed, it is known, and there's just one condition to it, rising above your own ego. And it is revealed only by that person who generates, who creates this ascent. And besides that, no one else can see, understand that what is revealed to this person, to this attaining person, unless the other person does the same that the first did. Host, what does it mean that I see an opposite world? Dr. Laitman, an opposite world meaning a world that exists in opposite qualities. In opposite qualities, meaning that there is the quality of bestowal, love, attraction, working on your ego, above it, the world of love. And there is a world that is opposite to it, our world, that works only on egoism, only on fulfilling it. And this is a higher world, and therefore it is considered to be the opposite of ours. Host, there is this approach of from lo lishma to lishma. It's when from your egoistic qualities you make an effort, you try, and you acquire this as if opposite world of love, as you say. So whenever I make these efforts, the energy that I get, it's nonetheless an egoistic kind of energy. I try to reveal the Creator for myself, but then at a certain point, He gives me the forces to do it altruistically, regardless of any connection to myself. And this is my prize, reward. So, in physics, there's also something like that a person puts in efforts in one place and reveals something completely different. So, this chance, randomality exists in Kabbalah too? Dr. Laitman, no, as if in Kabbalah, nothing happens by chance. A person all the time knows what he has to do, how to advance. He more and more awakens in him the development of the quality of bestowal, the quality of love toward another, coming out of himself, above himself. This is his direction, host. But, well, even though that he says, I want this quality of the Creator, of bestowal, but if he'll truly start explaining to himself what it is, he doesn't want it. Dr. Laitman really doesn't, but as a result of studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, he draws this special energy upon himself, what we call the surrounding light, and it helps him change. So this is what I wanted to find out. In science, it's called by chance. Dr. Laitman, no, here it's not by chance. Host, maybe random is the word. Dr. Laitman, an external influence that appears necessarily, and this is what we aspire for. If in science we don't aspire for something, but suddenly something becomes revealed to us. But here we actually aspire specifically for this, host. So in Kabbalah, it's more consciously done. You understand what kind of quality you want to acquire, and then when it does appear to you, you see it completely differently than what you imagined it. Dr. Laitman, of course. So there's one more principle here, which it's like in science, that there's no direct correlation between the effort that you put in and what you reveal, meaning you put your effort in one place and something is revealed to you in a completely different place. Host, true. Dr. Laitman, true, host. So there is such a principle in the wisdom of Kabbalah. Great. So we're concluding our show. So just about the topic itself, which is from your actions, do we come to know you? Meaning those that just joined us, we want to join us. We want to sum up how from the actions of the Creator, from how this field works on me, how can I come to know it? Dr. Laitman, if I start looking for the Creator and what goes on in me, rising above myself, then this way I discover Him. In short. Host, maybe to complete what I understood, that unless I generate in myself the same quality by which the Creator works on me, meaning according to the law of equivalence of form, I will not be able to decipher His actions over me. I'll just envision different things to myself. He did this and this to me because I did this and that, suppose. Meaning without acquiring that quality, I will not be able to understand what He wants from me. And as you already said, this quality is achieved only in a society, in a small group, etc., etc. Dr. Laitman, yeah. Host, thank you very much. It was interesting, and until next time, all the best.